and one of the aspects you haven't really touched upon much, but the recent purchase of AOL, it just adds to the ad capability, right? So why don't you talk a little bit about advertising and how that fits in?
Sure. So obviously people are looking for new and interesting ways to monetize content, and then that's through content itself. There's subscription, a la carte, pay-per-view, etc. Right? So there's models around content, and then advertising is obviously a complementary component to that. So the content ultimately drives advertising. Advertising drives dollars. Getting that kind of virtuous circle going. And so what AOL brings to Verizon is really a whole set of technology assets and content itself. Like, so AOL is a huge owner of content and properties that generate content. They also have some really interesting tools and capabilities around content syndication, content recommendation. We talked about content discovery. So whether it's kind of an in-web page experience where you're looking at an article or watching a video, and alongside that here's a bunch of recommendations based on your profile, your browsing or viewing habits and behaviors and things like that. Being able to recommend additional content, whether it's for that particular web property, for example, or that particular media property from their own library, or potentially syndicated content from other libraries around the internet that drive dwell time, drive interest levels, drive increased traffic and increased retention on your site, which then benefits the whole kind of ad monetization model. The more time you spend, the more you view, the more you have ad insertion opportunities and things like that. And so that again, kind of virtuous circle just reinforces itself. So the more data you have, the more rich content you have, the more that ads actually benefit and target user interests, the better it is for everyone, both the consumer who is not getting spammed with junk they don't want, the advertiser who can, drive more traffic from their ad placement, which is ultimately what they want. They want to sell product, and the publisher who is now getting a rich experience for their user that actually creates stickiness for their site and for their content, as opposed to distraction or annoyance, right?
I'm kind of curious, this is a little bit out in left field, but speaking to dwell time as far as ads and so forth, do you find that people, once they're kind of in a viewing mode, they're more likely to kind of watch that ad because they're watching their program and then they'll watch through the ad, whereas if it's just an ad that's popping up on a web page they're reading, they might not be as likely to watch it?
So I think I'm not super tuned into all the statistics and everything, but there certainly are statistics that talk about relevance and content quality is always the biggest driver. And content quality could also be ad content quality, right? I mean, we all tune into the Super Bowl to watch the ads. That's half the point, right? So, even advertisements are their own content. And so what you don't want to do is have, a content viewing experience and then switch to an ad viewing experience, particularly video and in-program, programmatic ads, and have that experience either be jarring because of the format characteristics that I talked about, things like the aspect ratio and the quality level, and I'm waiting for the spinning wheel to load the ad. Those kind of things are absolutely detrimental to the kind of content viewing and user experience and retention. But then there's also the quality of the ad itself. So the more that you can target that ad to either interests I'm in, or maybe even the surrounding content itself, brands represented in that content, that drives viewer affinity, but it also drives advertiser value. Right.
And it seems like there'd be a real opportunity with the ad engines that you bring back to this local model again, the local affiliate, that they would actually be able to have hyper-local ads for the local hardware store, whatever it might be.
Exactly, and so that's one of the things that I did talk about that we're trying to enable in that workflow that Digital Media Services is producing. So again, what we're doing is trying to, for the broadcaster who's creating content, who's creating maybe a linear feed, you're looking at a content channel or a programming lineup, is retaining all of those ad insertion breaks, all those ad pods, the timing behind those, and then enabling a facility that actually allows us to go out and get the ads, insert them with high individualization, right, a high targeting profile. And so that even though it's an over-the-top internet-based experience, you get a very TV broadcast-like video quality of experience without those breaks and interruptions and bitrate switching and everything else, and the targeting experience of the web, which has a lot of information and metadata and profiles and user tracking with cookies and things like that. So bringing those two worlds together is really kind of what we think the future is. And where you kind of started with that was really enabling hyper-localized networks and operators to take advantage of those capabilities and insert their own monetization opportunities. So, with our platform, the national operator or channel operator can be kind of broadcasting a lineup, say, here are sections where I want to allow a local affiliate to insert their own either programming content or ad breaks and things like that. And so you can manage all those rules and enable all the different parties in kind of the content chain or the subscriber chain to have the right opportunities depending on the model and who controls the model. But you can see a future in which we certainly see the nationals with their affiliates wanting to bring that affiliate content forward and give it an outlet over the top, as opposed to it being kind of locked up in its local market, but still maintain monetization opportunities both for the national broadcaster and for the affiliate. And so, I think the same kind of model goes for, other kind of local stations and things like that. And I think, it just leads to, we're going to see an explosion of these kind of new models because the technology is going to be there that enables it. Obviously there's a lot of content licensing history and legal precedent, things like that. I think the industry is going to have to work through that over a period of time, but I think the technology is going to be there. The workflow capabilities and the technical stack that we're developing is going to be there. The kind of merger of the traditional broadcasts with web kind of oriented technologies will be there, and I think you're going to see a lot of emergence of new aggregation models, new subscription models, skinny bundles, a la carte bundles, things like that. So,
well, Ted, I appreciate your time and your insight as to the future
Absolutely.
of broadband TV. Thank you.
Thank you very much.